Very exciting to be back now for the 6th and final episode of this exclusive look behind the scenes
of the 2017 Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championships in Tokyo, Japan. I'm Brittany Kanagati.
And I'm Sam Oz Stone. We've been your hosts, and we hope you're up to date on all the episodes so far, because that would mean you've learned the personal stories of the players you're about to see.
We're down to 4 players. Let's go down to the arena.
A crowd of 1,200 people packed the audience, and this is what they've been waiting for. To see truly the best of the best battling it out to determine who will be crowned the 2017 World Champions. Exciting scene, Brittany.
Yes, Sam. All eyes are on the stage and on the jumbo screens high above the arena that give everyone in the audience a close-up view of the players and the board.
Also watching from the stands are the players we've met in the other episodes.
They're ready to watch the duelists on stage, who many of them now consider new friends, after the intense 4 days they've spent together. First up, the Dragon Duel finals, with Rafael Reich, who became the first finalist ever from Brazil. His father Christian watches him from the front row.
And Ryan Yu from Canada, who defeated his best friend Charlie Futch from the United States in the semifinals. It was a heartbreaking game for both of them. Now, Ryan gets to see Rafael's infamous game face up close. Ryan's mother, Grace, is also in the front row sitting next to Rafael's father.
The first game of the match is now underway. In honor of new players and people who know little about the trading card game, we'll show you the highlights and explain in broad terms what's happening.
40 minutes is counting down on the clock, and the first game of what will be 3 games begins with Rafael putting together a string of plays to search for his key cards, which sets him up with the best field he can, considering Ryan's unconventional strategy. You see, unlike all other players in the competition, Ryan is not trying to win the duel with mighty monsters. He is instead trying to burn away Rafael's life points as quickly as possible with spells and traps that inflict damage without attacking. A very difficult strategy to overcome for an unprepared duelist, and something that was completely off the radar for all of the other competitors this year. Ryan draws a monster and sets it face down in defense mode. That card turns out to be Dice Jar, which would force a die roll between the 2 players. The player who rolls the lowest number would pay a hefty price. The higher roll value times 500, or if the winning player rolled a 6, the damage would be 6,000.
Rafael attacks into the dice jar and has to face a tough decision. Using his only negation effect for the turn on a random outcome effect, or hold on to it for a later time in the turn. Ryan has only one thing on his mind: burning out Rafael's life points as quickly as possible. The game could end rather quickly with one of the players taking a major hit if this dice jar is allowed to go off. Rafael wrestles with his decision but decides to use his invoked Mechaba effect to negate the effect and banish the dice jar in order to protect the precious life points. Dice jar could have been very costly, a risk Rafael had no interest in taking.
But as it turns out, Ryan comes back strong. After having lost points in an interim attack, he begins his chain of cards with a trap card called Secret Barrel, which inflicts 200 damage points for each card in Rafael's hand and on his field. Then Chain Strike is activated, which is quickly negated by Rafael. But then Ryan keeps going and plays Blazing Mirror Force, which destroys Rafael's monster card. As long as Ryan takes equal hit, in this case they both lose 1,250 life points. Then the audience learns that Ryan has yet another Chain Strike card, which means Rafael will pay dearly. 400 points times the number of cards played in this sequence. All told, Rafael's life points drop to 1,750, sealing his fate. He does not survive Ryan's last assault on his life points. Rafael has lost the game. Now, let's pick it up at Ryan and Rafael's 3rd game. Rafael won the 2nd game, and his 3rd one is a hard-fought battle that can go either way.
The 40 minutes for the round have run out, so now the players are in the game's version of sudden death. They play 4 rounds, and whoever has the most points at the end of the 4th round will be declared the winner, a situation that heavily favors Ryan's burn deck.
The play goes back and forth with Rafael taking the earliest hit, sinking to 3,200 points. But Raphael comes back and Ryan drops to 1,700 life points. Just one good attack away from losing. This is what Ryan says about this moment in the match.
I had 2 cards to activate and he had 1. So the first one I activated, if he activated his in response, he just wins. But if he doesn't and he waits for my last one, then he loses. And he waited for the last one.
Ryan Yu plays his last card and wins the championship. Raphael Reich, the game's first Brazilian finalist, can't believe how close he came to winning. His dad sitting in the first row can't believe it either.
Grace Liu, the newly crowned winner's mother, comments like any typical parent of a champion.
I'm just very happy that he's going to be really happy for the next few days, not grumpy or anything, which is great. We have a long flight home, and so it makes it better when he's in a good mood.
Yeah, who needs a grumpy champion? I always say.
Well, we have one more champion who needs to be crowned at the Yu-Gi-Oh! The Trading Card Game main event.
Let's go back to the arena as our finalists take their seat.
Let's start World Championship 2017 on the final match. Get the level on the exit. 3, 2, 1,
Ryusuke Sujimura from Japan.
Shen Fei Milton Chua of Singapore. There's one thing that's important for everyone to know, Brittany, as we get started. This is a dinosaur mirror match, meaning both players are playing a dinosaur deck, full of dinosaur monsters, a fearsome card that brings the incredible brute force to battle.
Yes, Sam, the dinosaur deck has been cutting down opponents in the World Championships this year. You don't have to go far for evidence of that. Both of these players have used the deck to get here, having defeated worthy contestants like Billy Brake from the United States and Marcello Barberi from Italy.
The thing about this deck is that the first player to play has a distinct advantage, since with this deck and the right combination of opening cards, a player can nullify a number of his opponent's cards and set up a brutal attack before his opponents even get a turn.
And that's exactly what's about to happen here.
Ryusuke
Looks at his hand and calculates how to lay out his setup cards. He special summons various cards, including a dinosaur from his deck, to get 2 dinosaurs on the field. He destroys those to be able to look into the opponent's extra deck and remove key monsters from the game. This is all in keeping with the rules, of course.
He removes 3 cards from his opponent's extras deck and summons a card called Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier, which lets him banish one of Milton's cards from his hand and the field. Now, all seems lost for Milton, and he hasn't even had a turn yet. This sets up a parade of advanced moves. He works carefully to lay down a coordinated attack, capped by a card called the 9 Pillar.
Ryusuke attacks and wins. Just like that. A combination of good luck and expert play.
Well, coming to Milton's defense, the Dragon deck really does give the advantage to the competitor who plays first. And Milton gets to play first this time. So let's go back to the arena and find out what happens. Milton sets the 9 Pillars card in the center of the field. This card will allow him to counter any 1 card thrown at him. But wait, that's all he can do with the cards in his hand.
Milton throws it back, and in so doing has effectively lost the first play advantage. Apparently, the cards in his hand were not good enough to mount a strong first set.
He lays down several cards that will be critical to win. A card called Lost World, which is known by observers of the game to be more trouble than it's worth. But you need to assume Ryusuke has a plan for it.
He sets down a Cosmic Cyclone but does not use it. He lays down a Petiteranodon. Don't let the adorable name fool you, it's a monster with great potential. Milton Chua plays Skullmeister, a monster that can negate the effect of a card in your opponent's graveyard.
Milton had the option of holding back his Skullmeister for a later play in Ryusuke's combo, but decides now is the time to act and throws it down in an attempt to slow Ryusuke. Ryusuke continues preparing, but does not get attack, keeping Milton at 8,000 life points. But Milton is far from safe. Yet no one seems to know how Ryusuke would mount one big coordinated attack, which is becoming increasingly clear he's trying to do. He carefully considers every move. how he scribbles imaginary numbers on the board as he figures out how many of Milton's life points he can knock down. Rasuki has a field full of potential ways to mount an attack, but which one would get him to the 8,000 attack points he needs?
He continues deploying monsters, but holds back on attacking. Then, he finishes setting up his field so when he summons Trishula, remember that dragon from the first game? It takes away a card from Milton's hand, his graveyard, and his field. He did it by using his setups to make Trishula incredibly effective.
Another setup, and then he attacks. Before Rasuke can push all the attack cards forward, Milton offers his hand to congratulate the new world champion.
I really did not think I would come this far. I even didn't think I would represent Japan, so I am super happy. I got started when I was talking with a friend from high school about Yu-Gi-Oh! And we started playing casually. But then I got really into it from there, and here I am. Winning is important for sure, but for me, the most important thing is to simply enjoy the game. Now, my friends are going to throw me a party.
So, that does it for us. Thank you for watching this exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the 2017 Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG World Championship.
We leave you now with some of the faces from this incredible event. While there were notable wins and heartbreaking losses, all the players who practiced and prepared and flew 15 or more hours to get here say that they feel like winners as they prepare to head home. I'm Brittany Kanagati.
And I'm Sam Oz Stone. Stay tuned for news of the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading Card Game World Championships coming in 2018. Will you be there?